Hey everybody, it's Lauren. I have received a lot of feedback from you all that you love Aisle Planner, but you're not quite sure if you're using it to its fullest potential, or you aren't really sure what it does because you haven't checked it out yet. Okay, so I wanted to create a quick tutorial, and when I say quick, I mean quick tutorial on how to use it, how to set it up, and the benefits of using it. Because after you see this tutorial, I guarantee you that you are not going to use the knot anymore. You're not going to use any other checklist, any other app, any other informational sheet that you have. You won't use anything else because everything is located centrally within this one program. And so the awesome thing about that too is that you and I can collaborate on everything. And in fact, you can collaborate with anyone that you want to include in your aisle planner. And I'll show you what I mean in a little bit. Okay. So if you haven't received an invitation to your aisle planner account, that means one of two things. Either you aren't an LDC bride, and I don't really know why you'd be watching this, but hey, how's it going? You're more than welcome to keep watching. Or it landed in your junk mail. And so I would definitely recommend looking in there for the invitation. If you still can't find it, let me know and I'll shoot you over another email. Okay? So once you click on that email, that invitation, you will get a screen like this. So obviously you click go to wedding. Okay. And you're just going to wait for it to load. Hopefully it doesn't take you too long. And so this is what your home screen looks like. Okay, this is like your dashboard. You have your checklist, calendar, timeline, design studio, guests, seating, vendors, budget, notes, categories. Obviously, that's a lot of stuff, but it literally is everything you need to plan your wedding and to plan it as smoothly as possible. Okay, so I'm going to get started. This is where your important items, your to-dos, everything that is super important, it's going to show you your planning progress. Everything that you need to know is all right here. But let's get started with the checklist, okay? So the checklist is the backbone of the software. Okay, it's super easy to use, but it can be a little bit overwhelming at first. So for anyone that I add, any bride, any groom that I add and create an account for, I don't get rid of the completed tasks as default. Okay, so what do I mean? So this list is long, but it's comprehensive. It's everything that you could possibly think of, everything that you could possibly need to complete for your wedding. Obviously, if certain things don't apply to you, you can either check it off or just get rid of it and delete it. Okay, you would do that right here. Obviously, if you don't have a destination wedding, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But the awesome thing about this part is that you can hide your completed items. So if it's overwhelming to you to see everything that you've already completed, get rid of it. You don't need to look at it, okay? Or if you would rather see everything by due date, it lists it this way for you. So you can go in chronological order, okay? So there's that. The awesome thing about the checklist, you can download it as a PDF. And if you are a paper person, you can do it that way. Okay. Whatever is most convenient and easy for you. The great thing about this checklist, though, is that when you have specific tasks with a specified date, see how other ones are like 9 to 12 months, 4 to 5 months. When you have one that has an actual due date, that is going to show up in your dashboard, and it's going to automatically go into your calendar. So you see it and you obviously know that it needs to be done. So you get that reminder without having to even do anything. If you say right now you're watching this, but you want your fiance to do some tasks, okay, great. You can assign it to him and he's going to get a notification. I would even make it more important. I would make the star, because it makes it a focus item. So it's going to be an important to do at the top of his dashboard. And that way you don't even have to worry about it. Now that's on him. So we want you to delegate as much as you can to other people. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then obviously you can worry about that another time. So if an item is pink, that means that it's past due. So that just means that you got to get on it and whatnot. If it's something is yellow, that means that it's a focus item. It's going to show up on your dashboard as super important. Okay. And then if you see initials, that means that it's been assigned to someone. See how that just went to Will Ford? Okay, whoever Will Ford is, great. So checklist, huge. Assignment overview, here. Okay, so again, if I wanted to, have important to-dos, this is a focus item. And also, you can see if that little thing had a bubble. I don't know where the bubble went. There it is. See the bubble? If you click on an item, you can see the comments on that particular item. This is so helpful because then we don't have 100 texts going. We don't have Facebook messages with information. We don't have emails that have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Everything is in one central location, so you can't lose it, and you know exactly where it is. Okay, so once someone writes a comment, you get a notification of that, and so we can have like a thread going. You can have a conversation going. Okay, so there's that. Calendar, like I said, is great because any of your checklist items that have a hard date, a due date on them, they're gonna pre-fill into here. Okay, that's great, grand, and wonderful, but how do I get this to like show up on my phone? How do I get this to sync to my computer? Okay, I'm sure you're asking yourself that. And if you're not, you should be. So you just want to click on this, this little button up here in the right-hand corner. You want to highlight the link that's there, copy it, and go into your calendar application that you want to copy it into, and then it will start syncing to that device. So anything that you add, you can add an event. Oops. You can add an event if you want. You can put notes. Say you had a cake testing, okay, and that was at, we'll leave it at 9 a.m., okay? Great. Now that's in your calendar. You know when it is, and everything's going to sync. So that way you get a reminder as well. It's awesome, okay? So there is that. If for some reason you don't want to see, when payments are due or, something like that, you can uncheck items. I don't know why you would want to do that, but if it's overwhelming and you want to get rid of it, go for it, okay? Timeline. This is something that I'm going to tell you right now. Do not worry about this until we are like at least 2 weeks, even 1 week away from the big day, okay? You're not going to know all the answers to, when the stylist is arriving. You're not going to know those things until we get closer to the date, so don't even worry about it, okay? But this is what your timeline will end up looking like. So these are certain things that you will have to obviously worry about. If you can change the format of things if you want to. You can add things back in if you want to. Just play around with it. If you want, we'll do Will Ford. If you want someone to be in charge of, something specific, there you go. Now he's going to get a notification in his dashboard that this is what he is in charge of. I don't really know how he would be in charge of the ceremony, but whatever. Doesn't matter, okay? So there's that. Then we are going to go to Design Studio. This is honestly one of my favorite components of the software because it's like Pinterest, but on crack. It's so super helpful. So obviously I'm sure you have Pinterest. If you don't, good for you, because that means one less thing you have to worry about. But if you do, and if you're like most other people, most brides, you have 150 boards going and you just pin everything that looks pretty to you or everything that you might like or might want to do, right? Right. So having your IO Planner Design Studio means that you can take those pins that you love specifically from Pinterest, save that image, and you can upload it to any specific board. Okay, so it's super helpful if you hairstyle. I mean, it's the same concept as Pinterest, but this way I'm able to collaborate with you. This way, you can see what the lighting design things that you loved were. The other thing that I want to point out is the fact that you can then send boards. You can include a color palette, but you can send your boards to a vendor, to a friend that maybe you didn't want to include in your aisle planner, but you want them to see what you were talking about when you were trying to explain the layout design when you guys met for coffee. Okay, and you can add multiple style guides. Okay, if you wanted to. You could also include a note. The notes we haven't gotten to yet, but I will explain those in just one second. So there is that. That's the cool thing, because if you're trying to explain to your florist, I really loved those flowers. I have no idea what they are called, but I saw them on Pinterest, or I saw a picture of them, and whatever. Send it to her. Now she knows an entire your color palette. She knows everything. So it's just super helpful to be able to share with other vendors. The other thing that is super cool is the palettes. And so I have brides tell me all the time, what are your wedding colors? Oh, light blue and yellow. Okay, great. Light blue could mean aqua. It could mean periwinkle. It could mean anything. And yellow, what kind of yellow are we talking? Are we talking, light yellow, canary yellow, or are we talking more of like a, I don't even know, dark yellow? What are you talking about? So this is how you are able to specify. So you would choose where you want to put it. Let's just say satin ribbon details, okay? Ugh, don't do those colors, please. But do you see what I'm saying? So that way you can keep track of everything that you liked. You can browse the inspiration boards or the inspiration pictures. These are all professional photos. So these aren't going to be like your Pinteresty, I took them with my iPhone type photos. These can be real weddings. If you have doing an elopement, or it's a destination elopement. Okay, great. Here's some ideas. Okay. You like that? Perfect. Great. All you do, you click on it, you hit save, you figure out what board you want to add it to. You won't see this because obviously you aren't managing everyone's weddings, but then you add a note if you want to, save image to style guide. Perfect. You can also save the colors that you see in a picture. So let's say, okay, here's a bouquet. Great. It's going to pull those colors from that bouquet, and now you know what colors you like. So you can save this. You loved it, favorite wedding colors. Perfect. Let's add it to it. Okay. Super, super easy. So back to your design studio. You can upload your own photos. You can browse photos. Anything that you want to do with Design Studio is possible. It's awesome. Okay, guests. Some of you I know have already made a guest list, and that is great. Perfect, because that means all you have to do now is import that into here. Now, why do you want to import that? It seems like more work, right? Okay, well, once you are importing these people in here, you can keep track of everything that happens. Because so much is going to hinge on your final head count. Like some caterers, they, depending on what you're doing for food, they need to know a final head count. Same thing for, florists. You need a final head count. And so this is super important because then you can track all of those things. Okay, so I'm going to do individual guests for the view, and I can add, what meal they want. you know, if they're attending or not going, sad face, you know, anything like that. The RSVP number cannot be changed, and there's a reason for that, and it's helpful, and so don't freak out. It's so that before you send out your RSVP cards, you write this number on the back to Randy Adamson. You write it on the back of his RSVP card, and you know they're going to check, I can attend, whatever. If they forget to put their name, which happens, I'd say probably 80% of the time, you at least now know who the heck is, you know, number 106. So that way you can keep track of them, okay? So all I did was change the view. You can also do it as families, which is kind of cool if you want to do it that way. Obviously, if you click on people, on a couple, you can edit all of that information. If you want them to, you know, if they are part of the wedding party, you obviously can invite them or not invite them to the rehearsal dinner. Maybe you don't want them at the brunch for whatever reason. You can always uncheck that, okay? And meal options, dietary restrictions, keeping a track of all of that. You know, James needs a high chair. Great. So now you can see all of those things just by changing the view. High chair, James. Okay. If they gave you a gift, say they gave you a mixer for gift. Okay. Great. Or if, you know, whatever note you want to include, perfect, do it. The event info and options is an overview of this, okay? So it's going to show you 37 guests total. Okay, so that's how many you've invited. 24 are coming, you are still waiting on 12, and 1 has declined. Okay, you're inviting 13 parties. It tells you how many invitations you need, and a good guess on how many extras just in case. You can do your meal options, and you can easily add an option. I don't know, pasta. Okay, and then you click on meal, pasta. Okay, you can do this also for the rehearsal dinner. It's obviously going to be a smaller list, but you can also, if you decide to do a brunch, you can track that too. Okay, and this easily downloads as a final guest list. If you want to have, see, okay, if you want to see just your bridal party information and the contact information for just the people that are, you know, in the party, you can see that too. And the contact information, because I guarantee you, you don't want to be bothered on your wedding day, okay? Print this. Give this to everybody. That way they can get in touch with somebody else other than you, okay? And the last one that is great is doing a spreadsheet, because then that way you can import that into other aspects of this, but I need to figure out where that went. Okay. If you like working with Excel better, that's fine. Here it is. Okay. And you can easily import by clicking Add Guests, Import Guest List if you've already created one. And it's going to ask you to use one of these templates, but the only thing that you don't want to do is add any categories to either of these templates or delete any of these categories, because what ends up happening is that it's going to mess everything all up on you. But this is what the template by party one will look like, and it has little notes for you here. And so obviously all you would have to do is open up your sheet, copy the guest names, paste, done, okay? So there's that for you, and then you can easily import that. Just save it to this, import, and you're done. So that is the guests. This is where the Excel spreadsheet that I was just talking about comes in super handy. Okay, now you can see all of your guests, and you can easily drag and drop anyone. If you know that Scott Adams doesn't get along with Janice Ford and obviously doesn't want to be at the same table as them, but you want them to be far, far away, okay, that's great. You can do this for ceremony seating too. I don't really know why you would want to do this other than, for your immediate family. And that's kind of a given anyway. Normally they're on one side and the other half of the family's on the other. But whatever you want to do. So this way you can enter your seating chart. This makes it super easy. It's going to ask you initially how many people per table and how many tables you have. You plug that information in and it's going to create these boxes for you. And then all you have to do is drag and drop. Okay? Super, super, super easy. So, so easy. If you want to download it as a PDF, you have the option and you can include the full guest list or not include the full guest list. Okay? So there's that. Vendors. Vendors is kind of my, I take care of the majority of it. What I do ask all of my brides to do is to send me their vendor information because obviously if I don't know who your caterer is, I can't do anything and plug it in for you. I need to know who those people are. If you want to plug them in yourself, that's totally fine. You can totally do that. But this is also how you can keep track of payments. This is how you can upload if they gave you a price sheet via email and you want to reference that, you can plug that in here. It has all of their payment, all of their information. And also the amazing thing is invoices and payments. Okay, enter invoice. Again, this is something I probably take care of for you. I just need to know the initial information and keep me in the loop and updated. So if this is part of your budget, then you can do this. And how much was it? I don't know. Invoice total. Well, we'll do 15,000. Wow, 15,000. Here we go. Okay, and it's pending final guest count because it's a caterer. Okay, so you had to make an initial deposit of half. 7,500. Okay, it is paid. When did you pay it? You paid it on the 6th. Okay, and it was check number 155655. Perfect, great. Okay, and so then if you want to make note of when the remaining balance is due, you just click on due. You plug in the date. It's going to send you reminders on your dashboard as well as your calendar, and you're good to go. Okay, if you need to make a note of, they don't accept American Express, great. Do they need a meal? Do they need a seat? You can factor all that in too. So there is the vendor aspect. And then you can easily create a contact sheet and download it and send it to whoever you need to. Okay, budget. Again, this is something I will take care of for you. I'd rather take care of it for you because it can be a little daunting. It looks a little overwhelming. I just need to know numbers. I need to know information. So email it to me. If you want to create a note and plug all that information in there, I'll take it and I'll do all of this for you. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. But it's nice because you can keep track of how much you've paid, what your total budget is, when stuff is due, how much more is due, and you can manage the categories. Like if you don't want to keep track of ring stuff, delete it. Okay, super easy. And you can also download it if you're a paper type of thinker, then download it and have that handy and you're good to go. Notes. This is what I was just talking about. So you can create a note and cake tasting notes. Okay, what did you taste? All right, cake design preferences. All right, delivery notes. Perfect. It can be anything that you want it to be. A packing list, a running packing list. So if you are trying to remember everything that you need to bring for the wedding, don't stress out. Just start making a list. Here you go. Okay. What else? Wedding playlist. This is huge. You can list all the stuff that you want to hear, don't want to hear. Okay. Family photo shot list. There you go. So this is a good place too. I will have meeting notes from us. I'll have all of your initial information handy. But again, if you want to plug all of your vendor information in here and then I will pull it later, I can do that for you. Okay, not a problem. You can download the note as a PDF. You can email it to anybody, or you can also share it with the design studio. So, wedding colors, include a style guide. I'm just playing around here. You can do whatever you want to do, but then send email with share link. So you can email this and send it to whoever you want to share it to with, vendors, someone that's not in Aisle Planner with you, any of that. So that's kind of a brief breakdown of this. The most important things is the checklist. You can assign tasks to your groom or your maid of honor or your mom. They are going to get notification of when those things are due, as long as they obviously are a part of your aisle planner. The other important thing that I want to make note is obviously your guest list is super important, because that's how much of the final decision making it hinges on that. So take the time to enter your guest list. If you already have it in an Excel spreadsheet, take the time to import it. I promise you it's going to be worth it. Okay, it's going to be worth it on your end and on mine. Well, mostly on yours, because I'm going to, probably import it anyway. So, yeah, that's the gist of it. I hope that this helped. And if you have any questions, you always know how to get a hold of me. Or heck, you can even start a conversation on here, okay? But yeah, that's it. And I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial and wasn't too boring. Okay? Thank you so much.